A new maritime incident is raising tensions between Russia and the United Kingdom. Moscow has responded sharply to recent disputes at sea, fueling fears of a wider confrontation. British authorities have launched an investigation after reports that warning shots were fired by a Russian warship. Witnesses aboard a nearby yacht reported hearing gunfire during the incident involving a Russian frigate. The episode has emerged as the latest flashpoint in the increasingly tense standoff between Russia and NATO. British authorities have opened an investigation after a Russian warship reportedly fired warning shots near a British yacht. The incident is said to have involved the Russian frigate Admiral Grigorovich in the English Channel. Officials say the encounter took place around 20 nautical miles south of the Isle of Wight. The area was outside British territorial waters but remained under observation by the Royal Navy. According to reports, no injuries or damage were recorded following the incident. The British yacht Bright Future was carrying a retired British couple at the time of the incident, according to reports. The crew said the Russian warship initially sounded repeated horn warnings as it approached. Moments later, several rounds of small arms fire were reportedly heard in the vicinity of the vessel. The occupants said the shots appeared to be warning fire and were not directed at the yacht itself. The couple described the experience as surreal, but said they never believed they were under attack. Russia's defense ministry said the yacht approached the warship in what it described as a dangerous manner. Moscow claimed repeated attempts were made to contact the vessel over radio communications. Russian officials said warning flares were deployed before warning shots were fired. The defense ministry insisted the frigate's crew acted in accordance with international maritime regulations. The yacht's crew strongly rejected claims that they were on a collision course with the Russian warship. They said they had already altered their route after spotting the vessel. British officials believe the yacht may have drifted closer due to poor visibility and foggy conditions. A Royal Navy team was later dispatched to interview the crew and verify the circumstances of the incident. The Admiral Grigorovich was being monitored by the Royal Navy patrol vessel HMS Mersey during its transit. Russian naval vessels moving through the English Channel are routinely tracked by British forces. The frigate has recently been linked to escort missions involving Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet. NATO sources say the vessel had been operating in the region for an extended period. The warship was reportedly supported by auxiliary vessels to sustain its deployment. The incident came just days after British forces intercepted a sanctioned Russian-linked tanker. Analysts suggest the warning shots may have resulted from a miscalculation rather than deliberate escalation. Even so, the encounter underscored growing tensions between Russia and NATO in European waters. The investigation is expected to determine whether the use of warning shots was justified under the circumstances. Amid soaring tensions between Russia and NATO, one member of the alliance has now taken direct action against Moscow's oil trade, escalating the pressure on Putin's war economy. On June 14th, UK forces seized the tanker Smertos during a 6-hour dawn operation in the English Channel, turning a dark, early morning transit into a high-stakes boarding. Royal Marine Commandos and National Crime Agency officers fast-roped from helicopters onto the deck of Smertos, storming the vessel in a carefully planned assault. The boarding party was backed by RAF aircraft overhead, a Royal Navy frigate and a mine hunter, underscoring how seriously London treated the coordinated interception. Smertos, which was sailing under a Cameroon flag at the time, was intercepted while transiting toward Port Said, after being tracked as it moved through European waters. According to British reports, the move marked the first time UK forces have carried out such an interception of a suspected Russian Shadow Fleet tanker. The UK government says the tanker is part of Russia's sanctions-busting Shadow Fleet, a web of ships accused of moving banned oil to keep Kremlin revenues flowing. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has insisted the operation delivered yet another blow to Russia, portraying it as proof that London is serious about tightening the oil embargo. London says the ship will now be held off England's south coast for review, keeping Smertos anchored while officials examine its cargo and paperwork. Officials add that the vessel will be closely monitored for safety and environmental risks, amid wider concerns about the aging ships used in Russia's covert oil trade. UK Defence Secretary Dan Jarvis has praised the forces involved in the complex operation, highlighting the coordination between the Navy, Air Force, and law enforcement teams. Starmer said, and I quote, In the early hours of this morning, I directed our armed forces to intercept a Shadow Fleet oil tanker attempting to pass through the English Channel. This successful operation delivers yet another blow to Russia and reminds those fueling Putin's war in Ukraine that we will not let them hide. I want to thank those involved, including our armed forces and law enforcement officers who keep this country safe 24 hours a day, 365 days a year." Unquote. Western governments have long accused Russia of using hundreds of so-called shadow fleet ships to dodge oil sanctions, keeping crude flowing despite formal embargoes. UK officials now claim this shadow fleet numbers more than 700 vessels and carries around 3/4 of Russia's sanctioned oil, making it a prime target for enforcement. At the time of interception, Smertos was sailing under the flag of Cameroon, one of several flags it has used to stay under the radar. The tanker previously operated under the name Mertos, adding to the pattern of frequent identity changes seen in Russia's shadow fleet. Reports suggest the ship has changed both name and flag multiple times since sanctions tightened, a classic tactic used by sanction-evading vessels. UK authorities have formally identified Smertos as part of Russia's wider shadow fleet network, linking it directly to sanctioned oil movements. Tracking data shows the tanker departed from UST Luga, a major Russian oil port near St. Petersburg, on June 5 before heading into European waters. From there, it was tracked moving westward through European waters, eventually approaching the busy English Channel corridor. Marine traffic and other ship tracking services listed its intended destination as Port Said in Egypt, a key gateway to the Suez Canal. British forces moved in to intercept the vessel while it was transiting the English Channel, choosing one of the world's most watched shipping lanes for the operation. Smertos is now anchored off Weymouth on England's south coast, where it remains during ongoing legal and safety investigations. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has thanked Britain for what he called its principled resolve, praising London's decision to move directly against a suspected Russian tanker. In a post on X, Zelensky argued that cutting Russia's energy income also limits its war capability, linking every seized ship to fewer missiles and shells on the battlefield. The Ukrainian leader has gone further, urging European countries to consider outright confiscating the oil carried on such ships, not just detaining the vessels themselves.